photos. I know she wasn't into you guys, okay, because I didn't have control over it. In any situation, like not just a party, like this is something our band director told me, any single person will take a picture or like send a post of whatever you're doing and post it, regardless of whether you know them or not. They can post it on Facebook, they can send it to the local newspaper or whatever. And then, I mean, whether you control it or not, like whether the perception or the context is you know, controlled or you know what the context is, the world might not know. So, just kind of like that, what we've been kind of saying.
And this is something that's very relatable in a lot of situations. Maybe not, this kind of extreme example of it, but something that's so simple, seems so innocent. All of a sudden, next thing you're like, how did this happen? And how was it such a big deal? When did this? How did this? Like the band director knows about this. It's like it seemed like it was so minor. How did this happen, right? And that's the idea. It's something that seems so simple and innocent. If you're not very cautious, or if you don't, as chapter president, or as just a band member or an active member of the chapter, if you don't have that obligation and you don't carry out your responsibility of making sure that the chapter and your organization is held to a higher standard, stuff like this. The one thing of like, if she never, what would have happened if she never investigated? Never thought maybe I should talk to this person, or just like, maybe
or
I
she just stopped at the VPN and said, oh well, he followed procedure, so.
See, that's the idea. It's just, it could go out of hand by the time you know it. You're just like, well, this is too big for us to handle. Now we have to get nationals involved, and yeah.
So in this situation, I can imagine that the VPN will get defensive because in their view, they probably think that they followed the procedure and that kind of thing. So how do you then like put into action, I guess, a discipline or like or some sort of conversation to have happen that that still is respectful of the fact that the VPN did what they thought was right, but like clearly it didn't go down the way that it should have.
Excellent question. So, it's kind of what we've been talking about. It's a sit-down conversation, brother to brother, sister to sister. When it happens, you need to explain to them about the perceptions things that we've been talking about. Constitutionally, you did everything that. You did everything that's fine. Technically, with our bylaws, you did everything fine. But because your friend posted this, this is how our organization, or this is how other people are seeing our organization. I've had X person talk to me, and you don't even have to name names. I have someone from outside the chapter talk to me and was concerned that we are not a dry organization because of your actions. So the BPM didn't have malice. Really no one in this situation had malice. That's the important thing to recognize here. So when you talk to the BPM, you don't talk to them like, because they'll just shut down. It has to start as a conversation. It has to start from a point of understanding and knowing where they're coming from. And then explaining to them, trying to shift their thinking into that this person is clearly motivated to be inclusive to everyone in the chapter, but they need to do it in a way that's constructive to the image of CASI and Tau Beta Sigma. And so this is a guiding opportunity, and this is a moment to redirect focus and really help improve your image for the band.
And just as important as how do you handle it, who should handle it, right? If you see as an active member, should you be the one that goes directly to you and be like, oh, you messed up, is that really going to be effective? Even as chapter president, you go into your VPM saying you messed, is that going to be effective? And again, that situation, you got to know your VPM, you got, as president, that's up to you how to handle it.
Yeah.
Because you, even confronting them, depending on who it is or the relationship they have, could make it worse. So does it have to be the band director or this chapter sponsor, right? And sometimes, again, we don't want to bother our chapter sponsor because we don't want to make it worse, but it comes to the point where, okay, they're not going to listen to anyone in chapter, they're not going to listen to the exec council, no matter how many times they get talked to, right?
We need to bring in the adult.
That's really important to think about too.
Yeah.
So, because a lot of ways, people they mean really well, and they know what needs to be said, but who says it is very, very important as well.
Not only who says it, but also how it's said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone give a big round of applause for her. Okay, a couple of extra pieces of paper. This next scenario we have is a lot more happy, I promise. Yeah.
Okay, so for the second scenario, it's based it's a scenario based on service. So long story short, someone didn't serve what they're supposed to. So we're gonna have a chapter president as well. Who would like to be the chapter president for this one? Okay, Rachel.
Rachel?
Yes.
Everybody clap for Rachel.
Who would you like to be our service coordinator / like our service chairperson? Over here. What's your name?
Nicole. All right.
Who would like to be crew member 1 in service? What was your name?
I'm Robert.
Robert? Who would like to be crew number 2? Crew member number 2? Who would like to be the prospective member in the situation?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Who wants to be the friend of one of the crew members?
Sure.
Okay. Who wants to be a band member, not in KSI/TBS? And then who wants to be the band director?
Here you go.
Okay. So let's go and get the chapter president to lead their portion.
Our marching band director has asked our chapter to help put away equipment after rehearsals. The service chair has taken charge of this project and has selected a few chapter members to be part of the logistics crew for the band. However, today I noticed that one of the crew members wasn't helping. They simply left the field after rehearsal ended. I tried reaching the service chair, but she was busy helping elsewhere. Once class is over today, I plan on investigating what just happened.
Okay. So someone didn't stay to help out when they were supposed to. A very common, thing that can happen. So who do you want to go to first?
Probably the person who didn't.
Okay. So who's the unhelpful person?
That would be logistics crew member number 1.
Hey, sorry I kind of spaced out on helping out earlier today. It won't happen again. By the way, when is the next ritual? Do I have a little this year?
So what did we learn? Anything else?
Yeah, they may have spaced out on the service project, but it sounds like they may have spaced out on some other things as well. Slightly important things. So that suggests at least that it may not have been an isolated incident.
Again, all assumptions, right? And it's important to still again, assumptions are okay when you're trying to solve it, but know their assumptions and don't just go for it. But yeah. Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, anything else before we move on to the next person? Learn more information before we make assumptions. Alright, that's what we're all doing. Okay, go ahead, Rachel. Who would you like to speak to next?
Just to see if it's like an ongoing problem, like talking to service chairs.
Okay. Who is our service chair?
That's me.
Excellent.
I'm sorry I couldn't help find the unhelpful logistics crew member. I had class right after band, so I was busy putting things away, and I didn't really have time to find them. Anyways, that particular crew member has had attendance problems in the past. I haven't really seen him or her at the past couple of committee meetings. Still, I did send an email and text out to all my logistics crew members, so they should have a full understanding of what they need to do after rehearsal. They haven't contacted me with any questions, so I have no idea what's going on. I hope he or she is okay.
What did you learn? Kind of what you said, Rachel, right? About seeing if there's any issues prior.
So, what does it sound like?
This is not an isolated incident.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Well, isn't this a passive thought to give the logistics member a kind of benefit of the doubt?
Yeah.
A lot of active members have problems throughout the school year, and it could be that they're dealing with some home issues, maybe they have an illness that they're not telling us the chapter. So I'd rather not assume the worst about
Yeah.
them.
That's something, right? We tend to, and we all have this tendency where we think of someone doesn't do something, or almost like this whole semester they haven't helped out with this, and instantly it's just like you're really mad, right? Because you feel like they're letting you down, they're letting down the chapter, they're not here what they said and they took oath to do, and the band program's suffering because of it. But maybe there's a deeper issue that we don't know about, that maybe in order to help them to get back to where they should be, or to where they should be in general if they've never been there, maybe it needs to be talking, get on one-on-one and be like, what's going on? And you never know, there could be something going on, right? that's a good way to, go about it too, think about it that way. Anything else? Okay, who would you like to talk to next?
The friend of the unhelpful logistics crew member.
Yeah, he and I went to the union to eat lunch after band. I think he just spaced on helping out. Is he in trouble? He loves being part of 2ES or KSI. You guys always seem like you're having a blast. I know he isn't exactly the best attendance record, but I don't think I've ever heard him say one bad thing about your chapter.
Okay, so he's in, good guy. But what can we take away from the friend's statement?
It's probably not something like significant happening in their personal life, otherwise the friend would have mentioned it.
Right. But I know everyone's like, it's not as easy as the last one. In real life, this kind of happens. Like, we start investigating and we kind of get these, I don't know. And like, that's what we get out of people. And so, it takes a little more digging and a little more picking up on the clues of what's happening to kind of really figure out what's going on.
And I think just being really nitpicky about the wording of the friend, it sounds a lot like the person who's really interested in the social aspect of the organization, but not as much in the service, which is what
There
they're
it is.
there for.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not something that's like really pressing them to not be a part of the organization as a whole, it's just this one aspect, which is probably the most important aspect, and it's something that needs to be brought up in conversation.
I think it's also interesting that I'm a friend. Like, even I knew that he didn't have the best attendance record, which might be like, if someone outside the organization recognizes that you're not showing up to a lot of stuff, probably means you're really not showing up to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Oh, sorry, can I ask a quick
Go right
question?
ahead.
How did they get assigned to this logistics group?
Service chair did.
Okay, well, okay, it's just kind of one of those things where if you're giving people like a choice about whether, like, what assignments to do or commercial or schedule work stuff, I don't know, that might encourage more people to attend events. Something that they might, I guess they say enjoy doing more because, all sorts of things to be done. But, like we talked in the service meeting this morning, some people are more motivated to do different types of service. And they can find a different service job that works with this person that might have better results.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great attitude to take is, again, this person clearly likes the organization. And so we can't fault him for like actively going out and just like shanking us, so to speak. But we have to find the right role. We have to find the right role for this guy, and so they can really blossom. I think there was another comment that we had in a previous discussion in this, where there are some people who are just like super music oriented, like they are just fantastic. That pillar is strong, but their like sisterhood or their brotherhood side may not be as strong, or there's some that are really strong with brotherhood, but then the service isn't so great, and so it takes all people from walks of life, and I mean, each people have room to grow in certain things, so perhaps the best solution, as you've suggested, is to find ways to incorporate service that allows that section to grow, to find service that they enjoy.
I kind of like, I don't know, some of you guys I recognize from being in the service discussion this morning during the time that I was while doing the service project. And that's one thing that we talked a lot about. One was personalizing service, so making it something that people are actually invested in. And then the other one was having conversations with your chapter about what service means to your chapter so that you can create more meaningful service. And I think in this case, I think that this type of service is definitely something that is important and that kind of thing, but it's also important to make sure that people are connecting with the service that they're doing and they feel like it's important. And I don't think that our member feels a calling to do this service.
Right on. All right, let's continue.
Probably the regular band member.
Were you guys supposed to be in charge of moving the equipment at her band practice? I only saw a couple people helping out earlier today, and I kind of felt bad for them. KSI TBS is usually on top of stuff like this. Is everything all right?
So what do we say to the gentleman that's been sipping on haterade recently?
What's one thing this brings up, though, in regards to people that notice things?
If you notice that there are only 2 people helping out, even if you're not in KK Sci or TVS, help out.
Honestly, I'm gonna hit on that, Mark, 'cause I did that last time too.
Yeah,
Doing that little spiel. We as brothers or prospective members, we are very much open to helping if we're asked, right? But there's an issue there. We're waiting for someone to ask us. And we've all experienced that. You know, I'll be helping, like tearing down the field, and I see a group of brothers or PMs or just band members in general, like you're saying, hanging out, and I know that if I went up to them, and I could ask any one of them, and they would probably help. But the idea of me having to go out of my way to find brothers to help me, instead of them proactively looking to work, see where they can serve and help, is very different. And that mindset is something that we also need to make sure we talk to our chapters about, and our active membership, and PMs especially, so they can get in the habit of going out of their way to help. The people that, you know, that I look up to the most within my chapter, or even the organization in TVS, the ones that I look up to the most are the ones who go out of their way to make sure things are okay. Like, hey, do you need anything? Or, do you want me to go do this? Or they're doing stuff without anyone having to say anything. Because again, what makes us, you know, we're supposed to be the outstanding band members within our organizations, correct? What makes us outstanding if I can go to any band member and they'll help me out? Why would I go to you, say, hey, can you help me out? And you're like, yeah, and I can go to the person next to me who's not in K-Sci or TBS, and they'll still help me, right? What makes us outstanding? What makes us that? So that goes down to the deeper thing, right? We need to be going out of our way to do that. And that comes down to a bigger issue of not just this person missed something, but no one stepped up to take up that slack. Right?
So taking this back to a chapter president level, what do you think the conversation at this point is needed with your chapter?
Probably the being the outstanding band member is like anything like without being asked, and like even if like someone on the district's crew doesn't show up for whatever reason, other actors in the chapter should still be stepping up instead of like just hanging out on the sideline like you were mentioning. So like it's not just an issue with the one crew member, it's an issue with the entire chapter, because all the actors should have been stepping in the second they saw that there was help needed.
Perfect, thank you.
I think also on the more like superficial level to just remind people that people are watching and they know and they know letters and they are taking account. So if you're going to say that you're wearing letters and you're part of our organization, people are taking notice of that, whether they're giving you praise or hate. And so you should always be mindful of that.
And going back to perception, like people like